Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Hollywood collapsing. It's not looking too good this year for them. We're going to talk about the summer box office preview. A lot of movie theaters thinking they're going to go out of business because there's not going to be much that's going to bring it this year. But you know, good news, everybody. Disney's going to be back on top because they're going to be back on top because of Planet of the Apes.
Well, and I'm like, when they're bragging about how much, okay, it did beat expectations, and it didn't do bad, so I'm not going to say it did. But I think it was like 54 million in the U.S. and like 100 and was 120 something or whatever globally. I don't have the numbers in front of me. But I'm like, and that's not terrible, but it's not great either when you compare it to previous years. So
this tweet actually spells it out pretty clearly. Only 5 movies have opened to over $30 million at the domestic box office so far this year. Last year, there were 9. Last year was a disaster for Hollywood. And they're saying this year is not looking too good. So we're talking Dune 2 is 82 million, Godzilla and Kong 80 million. None of these have broken 100 million domestic.
Okay, so these are the opening weekends domestic. Okay.
Yeah, and last year by this point, by May, we had 9 movies that broke 30 million at the box office. So Hollywood is freaking out.
But first of all, that 30 million benchmark is low.
That is low.
It is like that's ridiculously low. When you're making 30 million your benchmark, that's bad. Like really, really bad.
Yeah, it's like lower your expectations. Like, I'm sorry, this is not like, you know, I've heard Planet of the Apes is actually pretty good. It's pretty watchable, but $58 million is not anything to really write home about for a big budget Disney movie.
Global, yeah, with a lot of effects and VFX. And the thing is, globally it got more, and this is only the opening week, but still, I mean, for an opening weekend for a big movie, a tentpole franchise, it's not good.
It is not good. So we're going to talk about this because it's not looking good this year. You know, other than Deadpool and Wolverine, I can't really think of anything that's going to be a massive hit. People said Garfield might do okay. People were like, "Oh, Furiosa." I'm like, nobody's going to freaking watch Furiosa. Nobody gives a shit. The Mad Max isn't even in it, I don't think. They don't care. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Yeah, so this person, Gatish Pandya, I don't know, is founder and editor of boxofficeguru.com. So they do follow this stuff.
It's almost like they know what they're talking about.
It's almost like they know what they're talking about. But yeah, I mean, we're seeing a decline year over year. We had the pandemic. That kind of broke things. And everybody's like, hey, the movies are coming back. Because we had all these movies that were like backlogged.
But they're trying to say it's because of the strikes. It's like, okay, you push the movies back to this year, but I don't think the strikes is why. Because there's not anything in the next year or two that I think is going to be fantastic. You know what I mean? I think overall, I'm not. Just a couple things are even worth probably going to the theater to see.
Well, I think that's it. The movies have to be worth going to the theater to see. And I'm waiting for the next round of excuses because we saw it with Doctor Who where it's like...
The weather.
The weather was really nice, so everybody went outside and decided to touch grass. Well, they told us to touch grass, right? They said, hey, if you're a bigot, go touch grass. And that'll be the next thing. Well, everybody was outside because, you know, they're just getting out of the pandemic that was ended like 3 years ago. They're still, you know, just kind of coming out of the pandemic. Yeah, it's people will go to the theater for movies they're worth going to the theater for. And they will turn out in massive numbers. And we saw that last year. There were some really big hits, but I can't think of anything coming out this year that's going to be on par with like Barbie or Oppenheimer, or, you know, again, with the exception of Deadpool and Wolverine. Moana 2, I don't think is going to do gangbusters.
I don't know. It's going to depend how it looks.
I don't know.
I mean, I think it might do okay, but I think if it's not done very well, it might start out strong and then fall off a cliff. Yeah,
so, well, talk about falling off a cliff, right? Because we talked about, you know, Fall Guy and didn't do very well. People said it was actually good, but it was one of those movies where people didn't think they needed to go to the theater to see it. So far this quarter, the box office is tracking down 48%.
Ooh, year over year. That's not good.
While he expects the May slate to help strengthen ticket sales, box office will need to see some big splashes to reclaim lost ground. Right now, cinema operators are in need of a significant content infusion. Well, yeah, it's a good thing we didn't have back-to-back strikes. There's plenty of movies.
They pushed it back, but I just don't think... It pushed it back by a few months, but I don't think that it was... A lot of the movies that were pushed back are coming out this year anyway.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So it did, you know, they just would have been out last year.
Yeah, I said not only is the volume of content down, but also lacks sizzle. Yeah, let's look at what they have. Okay, we got Kingdom of Planet of the Apes, which we'll talk a little bit about that. Isn't that the Ryan Reynolds thing? The Strangers.
No idea.
Furiosa, no.
Don't care.
Garfield, maybe. Bad Boys, I didn't even know that was coming out.
Yeah.
Inside Out 2,
maybe.
The Bike Riders.
No idea.
Quiet Place might do okay. Despicable Me 4 is going to do okay. Twisters. Yeah, so we saw the trailer for Twisters.
It's the same movie, except now it's basically the same movie, except now they're working like the team that's like the rough and tough, you know, group, and the one that's like the sciencey science, all the money group.
The sciencey science
group. Friends now and work together.
Oh my god, I'm gonna start like a kaiju show like Ultraman, and we're gonna have the sciencey science group.
You know what I mean?
It's like
it just, to me, I don't know. Deadpool, Wolverine. I think
that's gonna do well.
Borderlands, no idea.
Alien is not gonna do well. The Crow remake, nobody wants it. It's all shit.
I'm telling you, I'm looking at this list, and other than I know you guys like Quiet Place and Deadpool and Wolverine, I don't care.
So last year was not good, right? Last year was not good. This is what they had. They had Fast X, which did okay. The Little Mermaid, which still lost money from my understanding.
But it's still up to 96 million, which is way more than the Planet of the Apes.
What? I can't believe. Wait, this is CNBC, right? Not Breitbart. Okay. It's yet to be seen if this summer will have any breakout hits such as The Sound of Freedom last year.
Or remember you were allowed to talk about that?
You weren't allowed to talk about it.
You were like alt-right and stuff. Yeah.
So they're like, we got some family-friendly fare. We got Kung Fu Panda. They're talking about in the fall actually looks better.
I think probably.
Beetlejuice 2, Joker 2. It's all sequels.
I'm not sure about that one.
Venom 3, Gladiator 2. How he died at the end.
Spoiler.
Oh, whoops. Moana 2, Wicked, Kraven the Hunter,
no.
Hell no. Sonic 3 probably, Mufasa, hell no.
People already turned against Mufasa, yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like, Christmas might do better, but I'm like...
overall, though, there's still, except for like 2 or 3, it doesn't look that great. It really doesn't.
Not
a lot of those ones, I'm not saying they're bad movies, but they're ones that I'm like, do I want to go clear to the theater and spend all that money? No, I'll just wait for streaming or till they're on digital.
Yeah, it's not looking good. And, everybody's talking about how Planet of the Apes did okay, but like they don't have a lot this year. They really don't have a lot of movies this year. And it's going to be 2 or 3 years again, partially because of the strikes, partially because a lot of the studios just turned off the money. It just took this long for things to catch up, I think. Phantom Wire has the Phantom Wire. Now, this one's written by Smriti and Rishiba. What? These are not. No. This is either AI or India or yes. This is not. 2024 is the year Disney is back on top. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, crushing box office milestone. What? Can finally convince Disney to stop focusing on Marvel.
But there really isn't. They really didn't crush the. What's the milestone?
Like a rampage of apes, it's set to rule the box office.
This is not ruling the box office numbers.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes has made waves already, earning $129 million worldwide.
How much did it cost to make?
I think it was $160. I don't think it was massively expensive, but yeah.
But then you still are going to need at least $320 to $350 to break even.
Fans flock to theaters in large numbers to prove how content they are with the stories that have been coming their way. This is AI written shit.
Or whatever million isn't like flocking to the theaters. These are like what would be considered box office disappointments like 3-4 years ago.
We are celebrating mediocrity at this point because everything has been shit. So now it's like if something does mildly okay, it's a huge win, but I'm like, those are not exactly like Barbie numbers or Oppenheimer.
No, and I'm not dissing the movie.
No. I've heard the movie's actually good, but it's not a massive
I'm not understanding why they're celebrating these numbers.
Yeah, and this is not domestic either. Like for Disney, they're used to pulling that in domestic opening weekend for a tentpole movie. It's I don't know.
In global, everything combined, it was whatever, like the 130 or 120, whatever it was.
After a week 2023, 2024 is the year Disney is back on top.
I would not say that because by this time last year, Ant-Man and the Wasp didn't make money, but it still did better. Something better than that. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 did better. You've proven Little Mermaid opened higher numbers.
Little Mermaid was like, what did they say? It was 96 million, and it still lost money because it was so expensive.
But that was the opening, yes.
This person says we only need 8 movies, 8 rom-coms, 8 sport movies, 8 political thrillers, and slasher flicks. The opening was okay. That 500 million milestone is still doable. No, it's not.
It might be for this one.
Well, I guess if the competition sucks and there's nothing else to watch this summer, and people are like, yeah, let's go see Planet of the Apes. People said it was all right.
My thing is, it is doing better, and that's good. But do I think this is the big win that they're spinning it out to be? No.
No.
It seems like everything's going backwards, and they're year over year, they keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller amounts. And it's concerning.
Yeah, this is IndieWire. They spelled it out a little more realistically here. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is not enough to achieve 100 million box office weekend. At this point, a big tentpole film, Disney consistently hit $100 million.
Well, to be fair, too, though, some of these, you have to remember, too, they always release them on Memorial Day or whatever, so they get that 3, 4, 5 day, whatever total. And when you see the opening totals, you're getting those totals and not the actual, regular Friday, that 3-day normal. So you're comparing apples to oranges here, because if you have a 3-day opening with the Planet of the Apes, and then you compare it to something that was a 5-day, one of those 5-day weekends, or 4-day weekends, it's going to be it's going to look like it did better even if it didn't. Yeah. So you have to take that into consideration as well.
Yeah, they're like, well, here we are, two weekends into what's considered the summer season. Basically, summer starts in early May now for some reason, but they're like, it was Mother's Day too. Like, yeah, because you want to take your mom to go see Planet of the Apes.
Or the Fall Guy.
Or the Fall Guy.
I mean, I'd probably go see Fall Guy. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
I would, but I like the original show.
That's true, you did.
I'm not a normal woman.
We'll catch it. No, you're not a normal woman. That's why I love you. You know what Street Hawk is.
I do.
That's why we're together. Because she's like, I remember Street Hawk. I'm like, you do? Awesome.
Hot damn.
Hot damn. That makes me hot. Anyway, this is another sub $100 million domestic weekend that's made worse by the timing. It's May and the presence of 2 expensive top-tier releases with positive reviews and other compelling elements. People aren't going to the theater. They're touching grass. They don't want to go see your monkey movie, even if it's good. That's the thing. It's not even a dig at quality. It's like people are over it. And I think, honestly, the pandemic did break a lot of things. They're like, you know what? We can just watch old movies. We can wait for streaming.
I think the second one is a big one. Let's wait for streaming. Wait till it's on digital.
Is it worth the hassle of going to the theater if the movie's not a must-see movie? And we don't have a lot of must-see movies. I think the Barbenheimer thing was an anomaly last year. I think people went to go see Dune, and I went to see Mario. They went to go see Mario because that was an event. It was like, oh my God, a Mario movie.
Heck, even Five Nights at Freddy's, they went to see.
Yeah, okay. Five Nights at Freddy's, they went to go see, and it was on streaming for basically free if you already had they still went to the theater to go see it. So it's just like people will go to the theater if you give them a compelling reason to go to the theater. They have to get something at the theater that they're not getting at home or something they can't wait for. And it kind of reminds me of back in the day going to the arcade to play the latest video games because the home consoles couldn't do it. You'd eventually get a port, but it usually wasn't as good, at home. And it was that way for the longest time with movies. But now people have freaking 100-inch TVs, 4K, 8K TVs, surround sound. It's like it's actually better to watch the stuff at home than it is to watch it at the theater and have the expense and the noise and all that. But
just for, shits and giggles, I had Neon pull this up. What are the top 10 highest grossing movie weekends in the United States in 2023 for openings? Okay. So we have Barbie at 162 million. The Super Mario Brothers movie, 146 million. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, 120 million, roughly. Guardians of the Galaxy, 118 million, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Those are the opening weekends for these films, and they're all way above what they're celebrating.
Yeah, even Ant-Man opened way higher, and then it just fell off a freaking cliff once people went to go see it. The only one that did typical Marvel numbers was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Right. And even that was kind of meh.
All of these are above this, and they're celebrating it. I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying it's a bad movie. What I'm saying is the numbers are concerning, and this is domestic. and the numbers are not great, and they're just like celebrating it, and it's like, you know, a few years ago that would have been listed as a bomb immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I'm just saying. It's like, if you compare apples to apples, it's not looking good right now.
No, it's not. I mean, I thought that was kind of muted with Planet of the Apes. They're like, oh my God, guys, good news. I thought it was, at first they said it was like 130 million. I thought it was 130 million domestic. I'm like,
no, that's
wow,
global.
That's really good. I'm like, oh, it's global. Oh,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's not great.
That's the point I'm trying to make. It's like, I'm not saying it's a bad movie. What I'm saying is it's concerning that that's all the more it did, and you guys are celebrating it. And like, that's not good.
Like I said, we're celebrating mediocrity at this point, and because I think they know, and this is, look, I think the end of the year is probably going to be pretty good, because I think Beetlejuice for sure, people are going to go see that, unless the trailer looks like complete ass. But like, yeah, it's just not looking good. Then last year, though, we had all these curveballs. We had like Oppenheimer, which, again, I think because of the Barbie thing made a lot of money. And we had Wonka, which a lot of people thought was going to be a box office disaster, being one of the big movies last fall. So who the hell knows? I mean, who knows? It's just, I think that, you know, Disney having money in the bank, guaranteed money, everything that they put out making bank, those days are definitely over. So vote with your wallets. You know, if you don't want to see more of the same, you got to go see the stuff that's kind of off the beaten path, I guess.
I'm looking here, and even the Marvels, I think
it was like 42 million.
It was like 46 million. It was close to this, and they said that was horrible.
Well, yeah, because it costs like $300 million to make. But
I'm just saying, it's you know,
we're lowering the bar.
Yeah,
basically.
The bar is getting very, very low.
We're playing limbo here. It's Hollywood accounting, Hollywood limbo, and we're lowering the bar. And yeah, it's just good luck with that. Yes, I just think they're trying to put a positive spin on an otherwise awful situation. I mean, I'm hearing from people that Hollywood right now, like 75% of people are out of work now. It's like, it's not good.
That high, but yeah, I know people are out of work, and I've seen lots of articles about it.
Yeah, it's not good. Because they basically halted a lot of productions, and this is going to halt even more productions. Congratulations, you did get your better terms with the strikes, but it is coming at a price, because it costs more to make these movies, and if they're not making money, we're going to make cheaper movies. So we're going to wrap this up.
Yep.
Let's wrap this up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Bye.